And here, with almost inch-perfect precision, in the general vicinity of the start of the KOM of the Great Alp, I operate the stopwatch in order to unleash the science. And I should report that as before, I didn't have access to an onboard computer, so the data here is basic. There's no power, no normalized power, no RPM, no average cadence, no BPM, no heart rate zones, no gradient, no KMH or MPH. Indeed, there's only the time on my now almost obsolete iPhone 7 Plus, combined with the veracity of my panting, the intensity of my heart rate, and of course the flow of dribble and slobber onto my fresh white and black Band of Climbers jersey. Hitting the familiar profile at the bottom of the climb, I resolved to stay seated and to spin to win, Froome style, with the knowledge that the gas must be full, plus the match is boxed, and I went about my task diligently.
Went out too hard.
Too diligently, it turned out, and generally I find that deep coughing at only around about the 180-second mark is a very useful and of course scientific indicator of a match fizzling out way too early, so I eased off a tiny bit. And suddenly, a fellow grimpeur comes into view. This is somebody to aim at and reel back in. And once I get past him, I regale him with my finest French, so as to blend in seamlessly as a local. Also, do check out the low-hanging cloud. Breathtaking.
Bonjour.
I remind myself that the steepest ramps come at the bottom of the climb, and also I'm trying hard not to back off much as I encounter each of the flatter hairpins. I'm loving the graffiti on the road, but I'm certainly not much liking the lorries. And here I am at turn 15, taking in yet another hearty cough. And there's a fresh target to both overtake and then impress with my spinning and general mastery of the French dialect.
Bonjour. 1/3 distance.
1/3 distance. Try not to sound too desperate. And wow, what a view. I really love it when I see another rider on the horizon, cloaked in the mist. It's really a nice mini challenge to take my mind off the physical effort and gradually reel them back in. I'm panting like a hunt dog, but the gap closes rapidly, affording me yet another splendid opportunity to showcase my French.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
At last, the first sight of the peak, and of course the spectacular switchbacks draped across the Alp to take me to the KOM marker. And please do take in the spectacular scenery and wonderful sunlight. So of course it was only right that I marked the occasion with a display of agricultural bike handling. Attention, travaux! Indeed, there is plenty of work going on. There's an Englishman here in France and a best efforts attempt on the KOM. Now, my spinning may not be as aesthetically pleasing as standing out the saddle, but it's saving me from grinding a bigger gear and a lower cadence. And my unsuspecting and in reality oblivious victims continue to be toppled. Yes, my friend, this is bike racing without mercy, lumbering like a freight train up this hunk of impressive geology. packed, and pleasingly my ticket grabbing game is tight. More fodder for Instagram. Diggers, just like on Alp D'Huez. Note to self, next time man up and suffer a bit more in the final 800 metres. Watching back the replay, this was far too stately.
When all said and done, I reckon that'd be about 56:30 to 56:40. If we look at the exact start and stop, found that incredibly tough and clearly a lot slower than my virtual time. Top of Alp D'Huez. Just come down the mountain a little bit in order to show you some of the views, and just up there you've got a great perspective of turns, I think 5 through 1. You can see all the switchbacks sort of draped across the mountain up there. I think today I now understand the value of having a decent bike and setup, because whilst this Willier is apparently the entry level, a GTR, because Cycle D'Huez is located at the top of Alp D'Huez, they fit a 32 cassette as standard. And as a result, I was able to kind of spin the top 3 gears at a nice cadence all the way up the mountain whilst remaining seated. And certainly with the carbon wheels and the frame being nice and light, it was the best bike that I've ridden to date. Really enjoyed riding it, and I also spent a little bit more time getting the setup right. I had the seat probably a little bit higher than when I was riding in Innsbruck. This is turn 8 of Alp D'Huez, and it's a lovely picturesque setting with amazing views of obviously the mountainside, but also the wonderful switchbacks, in order to compare my time in the virtual world versus the real world. So, My real world time up Alp D'Huez, 56 minutes and 34 seconds versus 48 minutes and 40 seconds or 48 minutes and 38 seconds to ascend Alp Zwift, i.e. quite a big difference. And I know it's not down to the weight I have in Alp Zwift, because I spent a lot of time calibrating that last week, and I'm also a 100% trainer difficulty in Zwift, so it's not down to that. I think it is in part down to the fact that I don't have the data and I need to invest in a power meter and all that kind of stuff. But I think also it is harder in the real world. I think that's a fact. One of those came too close to me on the way down the mountain and I just fell off the bike. It didn't touch me, but I kind of fell off into a bit of a ditch. So you'll see chain off and all that kind of jazz. I'm a bit kind of scratched. Also, I'm going to have to report the damage to Alp D'Huez. And the other reason I'm confident that this climb's much harder in the real world than the virtual world is not just down to my own time differential, it's also down to a perusal of the Strava KOM times. Now the number one time is of course Raymond Bardet with just north of 41 minutes, but a top 20 time is 47 minutes. And there's no way that on a climb like this, I'm 2 minutes shy of a top 20 time on a KOM like this, which my virtual world time would otherwise have me believe. And similarly, if you look at the ladies leaderboard, Emma Pooley heads that up with a time of 49 minutes and 46 seconds. And again, if I compared my virtual world time of 48 minutes and 38 seconds, I might delude myself to say that I'm a little bit quicker than Emma Pooley, but clearly my time of 56:34 indicates that I'm a hell of a long way off a mountain goat like her. So back at Alp D'Huez, and that climb from turn 8 was actually a pretty tough climb in its own right, a good 15 to 20 minute kind of threshold effort, but feeling good other than the scratches and stuff. Now time to get back to London. Definitely not the most wholesome dinner I'm ever going to have. This is what I'm working with, but still very nice indeed. Always a pleasure when you're told to board and you get to stand on a bus for 15 minutes. Genius, a veritable hive of activity. This is what priority boarding looks like, Phil Lovett style. The much renowned Swiss efficiency, 18 minutes still in the bus, and probably another 18 minutes still in the tarmac, but it is a very nice evening indeed.